Parkrunners, are you ready?
Yeah.
Timekeepers, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Off we go.
Go Gladiators!
Come on, gladiators, exactly. Welcome to Perry Hall Parkrun. I think this should be number 252 today. It's going to be medium fast, I think. We'll see. There's a very slight breeze coming from this direction. And it's about 7 degrees, although sunny, so it doesn't feel quite as cold as that. Straight through the tree.
So this wasn't quite what I expected, I guess, but perhaps there was always a chance that this was going to happen.
I wish I'd done my shoelaces.
Fortunately, I didn't have an issue with my shoelaces, so that worked out okay. But welcome to Perry Hall. 3 laps as usual. A short lap, a long lap, and then a medium lap. Just a little bit of a squash through there. A few tech problems. It says my heart rate's 160 at the moment. It isn't. That's just because the watch isn't connected very well. So, tomorrow, Sunday, we have a 10k on trails to do, and we have kind of been tapering for that. And today's run was not supposed to be super fast, but it was going to be fast enough. My logic being that as tomorrow's run is on trails, I'm never going to hit my PB. So if I taper properly, it's hardly like it's going to make that much of a time save to make that much of a difference. So I was like, well, we probably run okay in this one, but we won't push it too hard. And that's kind of the view I had on it. And something about that meant that we ended up doing the fastest run that we've done this year. I'm tentatively saying that I've been a bit more careful with food, and maybe I've lost a few kilos. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. We were also very lucky in this race, as you will see. Temperature was about perfect. It was supposed to be 7 degrees. It felt a little bit warmer than that. Not too busy at the start. I managed to push my way towards the front. There was a couple of people to come by, but I don't think there's anything much that meant that I dropped too many seconds. Maybe a tiny bit, I'm not sure. But yeah, all this felt fine. My legs were a little bit sore, I guess. It's always the way. I never want to get up early in the morning and run, and this day was no exception to that. So here we come, round the first corner. Let's make sure to say hi to the volunteer that's waiting at the corner here.
Running.
So 3 minutes to that corner. That feels like about right, maybe? I don't know. And I'm just picking my way slowly through the field here. I hadn't started that slow, but I had started a little bit behind. But it's nice to feel that you're overtaking people rather than other people overtaking you. But yeah, this was well within my abilities, I think. So as far as I'm concerned, I managed just to keep this perhaps just under the speed that I could possibly do. And I think that meant that I was a little bit stronger by the end of the race. It had been reasonably sunny first thing in the morning, but the clouds had started to come over. This means that you guys get a better picture of what's going on. And also, there was a little bit of rain at the end, which was probably what was required just to keep me cool at the end of the race. Probably didn't make too much difference. There we go with the next volunteer. Hello. So Perry Hall is my normal run. I try and do this once every 2 weeks and then do a different run elsewhere. That means I feel like in my legs is a better idea of what's going to go on this course. This guy we're about to pass here with the purple turban, he's usually a lot better than me. So I knew this was a surprise and potentially that I was going quite well. We're coming up here to the first kilometre. It's around this tree. That scored a 4:53 on there for me. Maybe that's about right. Something like that. But I didn't know at this point I was within 5-minute mile pace. I felt like it would be nearby and close, but I didn't quite know. This little hill, it's not my favourite, but I seem to be able to run that level of steepness. I seem to go faster than my peers up that little bit. Any steeper hill than that, and I'm worse than them. But that one always seems to work out well for me.
On in.
Tried to say hi to the people. This is the 502nd parkrun. Apparently my 420th that I've ever done. So I'm only 80 behind the maximum number of parkruns. I've had a few weeks off, but I've been running for a little bit longer than this parkrun's existed. So if you just look in the distance, you can see a guy with a purple shirt with the white along the back. I think it might be a cancer care or something. He's going to be my saviour on this. I'm running nicely here, keeping it nice and chill. We just run up to this little group of people here who are perhaps going very slightly slower. And we get a little bit squashed. And this guy appears to be going just a little bit faster. And I was like, okay, I'll just hook onto him. And I could have, at this point, overtaken him and gone for it. But I just felt, particularly as we've just turned and the wind's facing us now, not that there's that much wind, I just felt perhaps it was better just to sit here behind him. He kind of notices that I'm there and he starts to speed up as well. But basically, for a large amount of the rest of the course, you'll get familiar with this Cancer Research t-shirt because he keeps...
Morning.
He keeps me paced for most of the rest of the race. And it's probably not too much of a spoiler to say we finish about this close together as well. The mile marker's just at the bottom here. We get to the... we get to the volunteer, we get to this corner. I tend to think that this is 1 mile. And so this, for me, rather than the tree round the corner, this for me is the first proper indication of how it's going.
Morning.
Hello, volunteers. And you can see that 7:53. It might be slightly down here, but we definitely 8-minute mile pace. Nice. I ran up next to him here. This was my little thought about whether I would overtake. But I didn't. And again, he kind of senses me, doesn't want me to overtake, so I acquiesce quite quickly and just follow him through. There are footsteps fairly close behind us for quite a lot of the next sort of mile. So I knew that we weren't necessarily getting away massively. But eventually we start to pull away. Okay, see a nice even pace. 154 heart rate is really good for this pace. Nice and chill as far as I'm concerned. And I can keep this going for a decent amount of time. Tomorrow we run 10k. If we manage to keep at something like this, I should be super pleased.
Morning.
Morning, well done.
Nice to see the team at the back there. So this is where we peel off from the normal route. Go round to the right, slightly to the wind for a second, and then we head off in the out and back section of the second lap, which is what makes this one the long lap. But yeah, I definitely remember that I could feel footsteps here. If the camera's not super straight, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to fix this. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with it. It's supposed to keep the horizon level, but something about my head perhaps stops that happening. Not quite sure why. The other clue that we were doing quite fast, and there we go, got 2 kilometers in something like 9:40 there. The other clue that we were doing quite fast is often that we meet the leaders somewhere around here. And we met them a little bit later today. And maybe they weren't quite as fast as sometimes. But I was like, this is all right. And just running really nicely within myself here. 161 is the topper zone for 157. I can keep this going quite well, I think. This guy just being here, keeping the pace up, standing in the way of the wind, I just thought really helped me. I did my quality training session, as it were, on Wednesday. It was supposed to be 4 times 1 mile at 8-minute mile pace, which is what we're running now, and I couldn't do any of those miles at 8-minute mile pace. Now, my training routes, and none of them are as flat as this, so that's always an issue.
Well done, guys.
There they go. Big batch of them. Big batch of them gonna contest the finish. I think one of them eventually gets away from the rest. So yeah, it was a good training I did the other day, but none of it was as fast as this. So again, as we just whiz round to the right here, we hit the wind again. And again, he's perfectly positioned in front of me. But there was no need for me to go past here. I felt like I didn't want to.
I don't know.
I'm watching here on the other side. Here are the people that I used to run with when I was fast. But we'll be back there again eventually, I think. That lady that we just went past, she's done really well. So into the trees and we hit the halfway point. Something funny happens here. You'll enjoy this. Which also proves that I've got some energy left as well. Actually, it tells me quite a lot of things. What's about to happen. By the way, I don't know if you'll see them very well, but this lady who was doing the marshalling at this point had a lovely smile on their face. And I wish I'd have enough energy to tell them.
Morning, morning. Morning, you alright? Morning, Jake.
That kid is also doing super well. Very small, but there we go. We don't come past many more people, I have to say. In fact, we lose a few places from here. So here's your surprise. At the halfway point, that guy took some random shortcut. Now, there are many reasons that could have been. But if he's feeling a bit tired, that seems the most obvious one. You can also tell that I wasn't feeling that tired, as I put a lot of effort here into catching up with him. And I'm easily able to, which suggests that I'm running slightly within myself, which was obviously the perfect pace to be going. I wondered if he'd just seen the sign and thought, oh, obviously the sign's on the cone before the cone you're supposed to turn. But yeah, it did give me a hint that maybe he was starting to slow and to be prepared to go past. Second surprise of the day is just coming up.
All right.
That was randomly my friend from Worcester, who I didn't know was going to be at this parkrun, and actually we saw them a tiny bit at the very start. Suddenly running past. So that was cool. It was nice to meet a friend, and we did have a little chat and a little interview on the stream at the end. But you could also tell I'm doing well today because I'm not saying hi to everyone as I go past. I do say hi to a couple. A couple of drops on the camera as well. You can see just a little bit of rain here. But yeah, that little push just to catch up back up with this guy has pushed my heart rate back to 160.
Oh, no.
And we do start to struggle as we get to this. This was the big indication for me. We come past this bin here, which is bait 3k, and I could see we're at 14:10, 14:15, something like that. It's usually about 10 minutes until the finish from here. So it's a really good indication. I was like, oh yeah, no, we're doing quite well. Very pleased. But yeah, not much saying hi to the people that we came past. Beautiful green trees. It's been lovely weather, actually. We've had hot sun and then we've had rain, and it's meant that the whole of the countryside is just very green. I like it. (163). Oh gosh, starts to struggle. If I get to this fast tomorrow, I'm going to slow down. So here's the new sign they put in. There's all kinds of interesting things. And you could see a very tired turn there from him. So I took the opportunity to go a bit faster. I knew why. I knew it was worth coming past. Quick check to see if the winners are coming. I couldn't see them. I think we did manage to avoid being lapped today. I think the winner's time was 17 something. I was very pleased to not be lapped. But yeah, I knew I would probably be faster on this little hill here than the guy behind. But I didn't have any illusions of the fact that I was going to run miles past him. It just seemed like it was my turn to take the lead. Obviously, I've got no idea how close he stayed. But he did save a bit more for the end than me. So yeah, again, another good little run up this little hill. And on to the final lap at this point. This is the same as the first lap with a tiny little out and back session, just to annoy us. So what I'm hoping for tomorrow is to run 5k in 25 minutes. Because it's mostly downhill, the first half of that course.
Come on in again.
You can hear me struggling. Yeah, so it's it's mostly downhill on the first 5k. And the idea would be to do 25 minutes followed by 30. That's my kind of aim. There's 3 steep hills on the way back just after halfway, and then 2 at kind of 8 kilometers to go, and then you have to just kind of survive. So we're going to have to see what we can pull out. Maybe some of this training will help me. Here we go, another hard work up this hill. Oh! I didn't think I'd catch this guy in front with the white. Seemed too far away. But I did nearly. And then he sprinted off at the section. They all do something, I'll show you in a minute. They all do something that I just can't do unless I'm running really within myself. Still got that little water drop at the top of the screen. So as I say, today was Parkrun 502. There were 201 finishers and 21 volunteers. Thank you always to the volunteers. I end up coming up 38th, which is pretty good, I think. And the winner's time, 17:53. Pretty good, as I say. But yeah, my fastest time this year, I think by about 20 seconds or so. So yeah, I don't think I could have run this any better. So here we go, onto the out and back bit that I never like. And as you can see, I'm finally catching up with this guy. I nearly get right here. Another one who hears me coming and's like, nope, no way am I letting Rad past. Not with that camera and that kilogram of battery pack in his backpack. They're not having it. And you can see I was quite tired by here. So that girl did a really good job there. I'm just trying to see. Eventually comes 22:45 PB as well. Nice. Oh, and there's another one, 20:53. And another female runner, 20:22. Yeah, there's a lot of good female runners today. So yeah, about 5 minutes from here, I was reasonably spot on with that. And I was at the point here where I could overtake this guy. But what happens here is what seems to happen always, is that they just run off. And this slightly uphill section is not one where I can just put in extra effort. I feel like I'm trying to consolidate my pace here rather than see this as the sprint finish. This is too far out for me to make for the run for it. So he comes by.
Well done.
And I think 3 or 4 more do as well. The other place they all run fast is this long straight section on the right here. Again, for me, that's too far to start to make my push for the finish. I do at the end of that where you got about 2 minutes to go. That usually works out all right. This guy had stopped.
On the left.
Trying to make it clear which way I'm going. So yeah, if you're ready to enjoy watching everyone come past me, here it is. We all end up reasonably close. Again, it just doesn't seem the moment to push super hard along here. We're already at heart rate 166, which seems high. I think this guy had been running, you know, within himself. Maybe both of them. They seem to come by just too fast. And then I think my friend appears on the right-hand side in a minute or so, maybe just a bit less, which is really great because it gives me someone to chase for the last little bit. And this is why I was saying, here he is. This is why I was saying I felt like he paced me perfectly, just in the bits where I needed it, just to keep going. I tried to kind of hook on. I didn't quite manage it, but I used the advantage of the fact that I'm faster on the hill to catch him up again on the corner. Thank you for the final time to this volunteer. And what it's been recently is at the end of this little crunchy bit of path, when we join there with the other one, we are generally 2 minutes away from the finish. So you can get a reasonable shot of what the time will be at this point. That's me checking.
Right, 24:20.
There you go, 24:20. Which would be appropriate for my 420th run, but that isn't what we get. And so this guy got away a bit, but I started to catch up with him. You'll also see some of those ones that had gone a little bit ahead. We start to catch up with them again, and perhaps I did a good pace here. I say everything about this, I probably did about right. The only thing I didn't do was a sprint finish. I'll tell you why in just a minute, but... Wait, we sped up, but I probably would have been able to overtake this guy at the very finish, but I chose not to because I felt like being that person that tries to sprint past someone at the very line is probably not majorly in the spirit of Parkrun. We just get randomly overtaken again, oh well. And I did not have loads left at this point, it has to be said. So here we go, it's the final straight. My goal was just to kind of stay with him. Here we go, Rad. What's going to be your new PB for the year? Fastest time this year? I think that's the words I use. We do great. I do pug and shout a bit, but not as much as sometimes. And so, as you can see, I could have gone past. I could have gone past, but it was just so close. It wasn't worth the sprint. And there we go, 24:15 for my fastest time this year. Thank you for watching. Hopefully there'll be a longer video tomorrow after we do the 4 Farms 10K.